What up, reality junkies and everybody else? It's your boy Ronu and Najee. That's your cue. It's your
Sorry,
boy.
I was muted. My
Okay,
bad.
let's try it again. What up,
But
reality junkies? It's your boy Ronu and
Nigeria.
I'm about to say my girl, and this my girl Najee. She's my homegirl, y'all. She's like my little sister, my little younger sister, and we just talk music, hot topics, whatever.
We do kind
And
of
what I
act like
love,
brother and sister, don't we?
we do, yeah. You are, you my little sister. But what I love
Yeah.
about her is she's knowledgeable about what she talks to because I do my research. And ever since I've been a little kid, I've been into music, pop culture, and all that. And I do my research and I look at my facts. And so I don't just be talking to talk. And a lot of people just go on what they see on the internet. But even if I see something on the internet, I'll go and research it to find out if it's true or not and try to find many different sources. And what I love about Nigeria, she knows her facts. She don't just be talking to be talking. So I message with you. Have you always been like that?
Yeah, I think it comes from me being in a musical household, and plus, my father studied music. He was going to school for music, so it kind of he passed that knowledge down to me, and I just kept it up ever since.
But where do you get the research background, the type that you'll just go and research instead of just talking?
I mostly read books, and I read um, autobiographies, biographies, documentaries, and I study an artist like if I'm interviewing them, like if I'm looking at somebody like a Patti LaBelle, I want to read her book to see who influenced her, and I go from
Yeah,
that. It's almost like a tree, like a tree with branches. You don't just look at it from you look at it from the root to the branches, and that's how I look at
yeah,
artists because it's like, well, people are the root behind that artist, and why do they sing that way, or why do they put on a stage performance that way? Because a lot of them grew up around other great artists as well.
exactly. Yeah. Well, there's a lot that's been going on within this past week, and I've been posting a lot on Facebook. And thank you once again, everybody who's been showing my post love, um, sharing it, commenting on it, and being respectful. I believe that we all can agree to disagree, and all of us got different opinions. But I love within my group that we can agree to disagree and not get ignorant with it. So shout outs to my reality junkie people, my Neuron Rashawn people, and just everybody. Shout out to everybody. I got an artist, Lisa G. Allen, Big Mama. And if you haven't already checked out her video, check her out. Shout out to everybody who's been supporting us with that. Her project's been doing well. But there's been a lot going on in these streets, these YouTube streets and reality streets. You got to turn off whatever sound in your background. Najee, you got something on in your background. You got to turn it off. You just need this screen open that we're on.
Oh, it's raining down here.
So that's what
It's
I'm hearing.
raining where I'm at.
Okay, she's in
So
Georgia, y'all.
excuse our noise. It's raining. It's raining.
Mm.
Yeah.
But as
It's
I
been
said, there's
raining
been a
every
lot.
day like this, which is
You sound like you up here where I'm at in Seattle. It rains all the time up here. It used to rain all the time. Now it's random. Y'all done messed up the ozone layer.
really
You, and you never know what you're gonna get, no matter where you at now.
well.
But as I
Yeah,
was
that's
saying, there's a
true.
lot going on in these YouTube streets, these internet streets, and um, I just want to talk about it. So what I'm gonna do is um pick some topics, some popular topics that's been going on, and then I'm gonna give a little history on it. Then I'll throw it over to you, Najia, and you can give your opinion, and I'm gonna come behind to give my opinion on it. And I'm also gonna put the link in the chat because I would love for you guys to come up and give your opinions too. You know what I'm saying? This show ain't just about us; it's about you guys too. Because without you guys, we couldn't do this. So where do you want to? You want okay? We'll start backwards, right? With the verses,
Okay.
and
Oh
so
wow. Yeah.
Nigeria and I we're coming from two completely different opinions on this, and I really think it's a generational thing because I'm a little bit older than her, just not a lot, but a
It's
little
a
bit, you know.
generational gap.
And her
Yeah, it's a
generation
generational.
really feel like Mario knocked it out the park. My generation feels like he did okay, but he didn't knock it out the park. You know, he was pitchy. He was too drunk on there, too cocky. Um, and it just wasn't great. You know, now what I feel is that Omarion's bar was so low because Omarion was just horrible. Omarion, Ray J, Sammy, and all of them was so horrible that Paula Abdul could have got on there and everybody would say Paula Abdul blew it out the park. But I come from the eras of I was lucky enough to be raised with under the era where my mama played all the Motown and all the greats, the Al Greens and the Aretha Franklin, and then I grew up in the 80s and 90s and during the beginning of hip hop, you know. So I got to witness the Michael Jacksons, the Whitney Houstons, the Madonnas, who is a great entertainer. She's not a great singer, but she's a great entertainer. And then see the Beyonce's, who is a great entertainer, singer right now, grow up. You know what I'm saying? So I got to see all that. I've also been in the business for a minute. I write, produce, work with vocals. So I know what a good performance is. I know what good vocals are, you know. So um, a lot of people are saying that this verse was the worst verse ever, if you're talking about vocally, because nobody on there, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, like just blew it out the park. You know what I'm saying? But I was just thinking before we went on here that everybody says the worst verses ever, but was it? Because despite what we feel about the performances, we all watched that train wreck from the beginning to the end, and
To
then
the
we
end.
had a whole lot to talk about. So it kept us entertained. You know what I'm saying? So if something's entertaining, is it as bad as people say it is? Okay, Najee, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Give me your take on it.
Well, let's start with Ray J, Sammy, Pleasure P, and Bobby B. Um, I don't know what that was, but that was a train wreck. That was a train wreck. It was funny because you got to see who could actually sing and who can't. But and they try to blame it on the sound system. Now, it probably could have been a sound quality thing because versus they don't have the best sound production, I guess. I almost text my co and said, I think we need you to sound right, brother. Because he began to sound right for church choir. So, but Ray J sounded a mess. He was drunk and a mess.
High,
Pleasure
high,
P sounded
allegedly
like
high.
on his records. Was he high?
You know they
I don't
allegedly
know.
say
Ray
that Ray J
J
plays with
for
that.
real.
They allegedly say that Ray J dabbles in that booger sugar. If you know what that is,
Oh.
you still
See,
here?
no wonder Brandy was mad at you, Ray J. Yes, I'm here.
Mm.
But no wonder Brandy was mad at you, Ray J. Like,
And
are
then
you
Les said
serious?
that everybody on that stage was a little bit high and drunk. Besides
I was
Omari,
really upset. I was losing patience because I wanted to see Omarion and Mario. Now, for my generation, I think what's so special about my generation is that a lot of us were born in the 90s and grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s. So we remember B2K and Mario and everything. So I'm thinking Omarion's going to kill it anyway because he's a good dancer. He's a good performer. He's not the best singer, but he's a good performer. And Mario is one of those singers that come off of the branches of the Urshers and the Bobby Browns
and
and
right
he
before Chris
sings.
Brown,
Yeah, he was the original Chris Brown before Chris Brown was this popular. But he's a better singer than Chris Brown in my opinion. But
you
he
really think Mario can sing, don't you?
huh?
You really think Mario can sing, don't you?
Mario can really sing. People underrate Mario. There's a part he
Well,
was
he didn't
not too long
start
ago. There was a video of Mario, Chris Brown, Tank, and Steve Mackey. And those who don't know who Steve Mackey is also a songwriter and a vocal coach. And he was at somebody's party and they just played the piano and they were just singing straight down. Oh, Avery Wilson was there as well. That's another one. He kind of reminds me of a Micah Stampley type of singer. He loves to do those runs and riffs. So you can't watch a video of Avery Wilson and not see him doing a riff somewhere. But Mario, he's a decent singer. Is he a Marvin Gaye? No. Is he up there with Al Green? No. But he can do his thing. He sounds just like his records versus something like
He doesn't
a
sound
lot
like
of these
his
people
record.
out here, like the
He doesn't
Jason.
sound like his record. He did not sound like his record at that verse. I think he would have did better. Wasn't intoxicated, but
He
even
probably would have sounded even better if he wasn't intoxicated. But he does
right,
sound
but he didn't
so I
sound. He
just
wasn't excellent to me. He wasn't even good. He was okay. He was better than what you call it. And even when he went and interrupted Tank and them guys, and anybody that knows vocals would tell you this, it would have been dope if when he went up, if when he got to that very end of that note, if he would have hit that note, but he went really flat on that note. So I'm like, you trying to outshine them, but you're not even executing what you're trying to do. Dude didn't even hit that high note, that top note. And so with Mario, what he gave me was he got what he has down. He has them little the pitchy bird sound down because he does that a lot, and then he does his little runs down. You know what I'm saying? But as far as really executing and singing, now did you see the Usher thing that Usher just put out?
Oh yeah, the Tiny Desk.
Now Usher showed them little boys how it's supposed to be done. Usher sounded like his records. He hit his notes. He looked like he was having fun. He wasn't on there all drunk and high. That's how a verse should have been done.
On Tiny Desk intoxicated.
Huh?
You can't come on Tiny Desk and be intoxicated now.
Why can't you?
Because they want you to strip down everything to showcase that you are a good singer. It's all about singer musicianship. Whereas verses this is one thing I pick a bone with verses. Verses, they sort of set you up. They have a party, it's lit, you got alcoholic beverages, you never know, they might have some type of weed or whatever. And these people are waiting for these people to get on stage, but they're in the back partying. So it's like, dang, you're taking so long, and then they're drunk, lit, intoxicated, and where they can sound a mess sometimes.
That's where you got to have discipline. They even when you're headlining your own concert, you even have more.
I've heard a lot of those singers sing raw without being high or even like lit on some alcoholic beverages, and they sound way better than that.
But that's where you have to have discipline. When you are headlining your own concert, you have even more of what you like. The more drugs, the more alcohol, whatever the girls, the boys, whatever waiting backstage. But you have to be disciplined enough to know I'm not going to indulge in this until I do my set. Any vocal coach would tell you that you cannot give your best performance drunk and high. And a lot of people feel like you can. They feel like that loosens them up, but it actually make you sound worse. I karaoke a lot, right? And I'll get on the mic drunk and be thinking I'm doing a good job. I'm getting the crowd going, but I have people videotape my stuff. And then when I go back and listen to myself and watch myself, I looked and sound a mess. You know what I'm saying? So that
alcohol will take your voice out. If you're drinking vodka, it don't matter if it's champagne. It burns your throat and you get hoarse and you can't sing.
It does. It dries. Alcohol dries your vocal
why people do that, especially. I understand
because you be nervous.
Culture.
You be nervous. You be nervous, and so you be like, "Let me get some drink."
Some people do drink to calm their nerves down.
Yeah.
Some people do that. But that was I saw a shout out to Carcino for Life. I saw him and his reaction. It was hilarious because he said that was the best and the worst verses ever.
Was that the one that because somebody got up there and said that they look like a bunch of rappers up there? They didn't come off as R&B singers. Is that the dude that said that?
I saw that in the comments on the chat on Instagram. They were like, Do y'all notice that they all sing like a bunch of rappers? I was like, well, that was kind of the style back in the 2000s versus how it is now. It's like repeating itself.
Well, that
A
was
lot of
tacky
singers
as
back then
mess.
sung like rappers.
Did you see all the comments afterwards where people were saying that they handedly have put the nail in the coffin as far as R&B?
Meaning like they killed R&B?
So everybody's already saying that R&B is dead, right? But they said that they don't put the nail in the coffin.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but that's just some of
They're
the jokes.
tripping on that.
But so have you seen? So
I
there's this.
like that era of R&B actually.
I liked it too.
That era actually
Like I said, I'm
because
not dead. I don't
Mario
say.
was out and he did his what's the name of the album? I think it's called The Point of No Return or something like that. With Let Me Love You and all those How Can I Breathe and all those songs.
Mhm.
That was when we could actually dance to R&B, and I think that's why people want to see Usher do a versus because
They say that it's in the making right now. They say that Usher and Chris Brown's really negotiating their verses, and let me tell you this: Little Kim is negotiating her verses too. We about to get a verse with her, and she's not going to say.
I'm going to get my life.
She's not saying who it's going to be, but they're speculating that it's probably going to be Nicki Minaj.
Well, Kim called Nicki out. She was like, since we're on good terms, I want to versus you. I remember that at the BET Awards last year.
Yeah,
so
they said they're negotiating. So 2 verses is going to shut down the internet. Is if they do the Chris Brown Usher, that's going to shut it down. And the Little Kim Nicki Minaj, that's going to shut down the internet. Everybody and their mom is going to watch them too. Seriously.
You don't think Usher and Chris Brown is going to shut down the internet?
I just said, yeah. I said the 2 verses.
Okay.
I said Usher and Chris Brown.
Yeah, and that's going to be lit.
And I think that's
going to get my dancing on.
I think that's going to be a good match because I think Chris Brown is the only artist, R&B male artist, who could go against Usher as far as hits. And this is what I got to tell everybody all the time. Versus is not about who sings the best, although the one that we just saw clearly was, because that's what Mario did, sang better than everybody else on there. But it's technically about who has the best catalog, who has the most amount of hits, right? And the only Usher's the only one who can go. I mean, Chris Brown's the only one who can go toe to toe with Usher. No other dude out there right now could go toe to toe with Usher unless they brought in, and then that would change the culture if they brought in Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake is the only other dude who could go hit for hit with Usher, in my opinion. No, Justin has a bag of hits.
Yeah, but he kind of fell off at one point.
Well, Usher fell off too. Usher ain't the same as he was either. He hasn't had a hit in a minute. And this is what people got to understand.
He hasn't, but let's see. Usher's been around longer than Justin Timberlake. But the thing about
no.
Did they come out at the same time?
At the same time. They both came out when they were young. Remember, Justin was like 12, 13 on the Mickey Mouse Club. Then he went to NSYNC. They're about the same age. They came out around the same time.
Yeah, but Usher, I think he has some classics that everyone knows. Like his classics. Looking at that Tiny Desk, I was just like, man,
Usher has a bag of hits.
This is my childhood.
Usher has a bag of hits, and the thing about Usher, he came from that era where he had singles that was popular, but we also mess with his album cuts. His album cuts are just as popular,
Yeah, it's like on Confessions, my favorite songs are. But this is so funny to me because I was trying to look up their discography to see who has more hits and stuff, and they both have the same amount of hits. But it's interesting because
Usher has more number ones. Chris Brown only has. I don't even think Chris Brown has a number one. Usher has 9 number ones, pop hits.
I'll look it up later. I think Chris Brown has a couple of number ones, but not
Chris
as much.
Brown doesn't have. He's never had a number one pop single. He had a bunch of number one R&B songs, but none of his songs has ever went number one on the pop charts.
Are you
sure? I'm positive. I think the closest he got to number one was number 2. He's had a couple number 2. Usher has had 9 number one songs to reach the top of the pop charts and a bunch of R&B songs number ones. Nicki Minaj even had a number one pop hit. She's always got to number two, but never number one.
Yeah, I can see that. Let me see.
And do you know out of
Yes,
all
number one.
pop, not R&B, pop is a difference.
I know U.S. Hot 100 Run It was number one.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the discography of singles. Run It, Kiss Kiss. I think those are the only ones because I remember I actually created an Usher and Chris Brown playlist because those are the two that get me dancing.
No, he's
Those
not.
are
I'm
the
looking at this. He has not had no number ones. I'm about to show
Are you
you.
looking at Billboard
I'm
or
looking
like the
at
whole
Billboard.
discography?
Billboard is what they go by, and I'm about to put this on screen and show you. Girl, I know my facts.
Make sure you have like since
No, Billboard though. Billboard is
Hot 100.
right. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about R&B. Billboard is what the industry goes by. Can you see that?
Hold on.
Can you see this on screen? Oh wait, this is a dope contemporary. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for.
Say Hot 100 if you can find it, because
Yeah, that's what
Billboard
I
makes me
did.
sick sometimes. They keep changing up their thing, and now you have to buy in order to see the whole entire chart. Now, I'm like,
I know, right?
I'm like, why do I have to subscribe?
Oh, you're right. It says 2 number one.
He has 2 number one hits. Yeah.
Yeah, but then when we put in Usher, like I said, Usher got 9 number one pop hits.
That indeed, you're correct on that. Usher has a lot more number one hits than Chris.
But Usher
we'll
has
shut
a
it
million.
down
Usher has a million R&B hits.
Have songs together too now. So,
Huh?
Usher and Chris Brown, they have recorded songs together too now that also became hits.
And like I said, Usher has a million a million R&B hits. You know what I'm saying? Usher got it. So as far as hit wise, and Usher has a lot of pop hits. You know, a lot of songs have made into the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Usher has just been at that top of that chart of the summit 9 different times. But I'm not disagreeing, saying that wouldn't be a good match. I feel like that's the only one that makes sense.
It does. It actually makes sense. And I like what Chris Brown said on Drink Champs, because he said he would love to do a versus with Usher. You know, he looks at him as a mentor, a big brother, and it would just have to make sense for both of us. We want to have it where we could celebrate both of our contributions to R&B music. And I agree with that, because that back in the day, I'm telling y'all, that was when you could dance to R&B music. I miss that. Now everybody's all vibing, making music that you can smoke a joint to. I'm tired of that.
I really don't like this new generation R&B, the men or the girls. First of all, they all sound the same to me. I can't tell the Summer Walkers apart from the what's her name? Ella Mai, or what's the Ico girl? All of them all sound exactly the same to me. And the boys, I couldn't even tell you who sang R&B with the boys. You know, they all sound alike. And they're not singing to me. They're doing like this little whispering thing with the auto-tune all around it. You know what I'm saying? I really grew up. The last young person who I've heard that was blowing, singing is Fantasia's generation with the Jasmine Sullivan and the Kiki.
Chrisette Michelle's and the who else came out of that? Oh, Fantasia, Chrisette Michelle, Kiki Wyatt came out.
Yeah, Jasmine. Now they were singing.
There's another one, man.
Who?
Kiki Wyatt is another one. I love her.
Underrated.
Tamia's another one. I love Tamia.
Kiki, if she would have had, I don't know if she had the image for it, but Kiki, I'll say vocally, gives you the type of vocals that the Whitneys, the Mariahs, the Kelly Prices and stuff gave. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Those are the type of vocals she really gives. She's as that gifted.
When you have people like Kiki Wyatt, to even Jennifer Hudson, to what Chrisette
Fantasia.
Michelle and um Lettucey. I mean,
Right.
those are
That's
those singers. Those are actual singers now.
singing. Yeah. This new generation is not singing. And you guys, a lot of your generation love them, but I can't get into them at all. They do nothing for me. I've not heard a young person that just
I'm not even a fan of Summer Walker like that now.
but you know she's the number one R&B female out
I
right now.
know, but I'm not even a fan of her like that. I sometimes she's a hit and miss with me. She's just a hit and miss with
I
me.
can't get
But
into her.
I
You know.
just can't get into her like that. I love Ari Lennox though. She's interesting.
I can't get. I can get into her a little bit more than I can Summer, but she doesn't really blow me away like the people we just named. That was the last group that blew me away, and then of course before then, I come from a generation with the Whitneys, the Mariahs, the Celine Dion's,
Tony
um,
Braxton's,
the Tony Braxton's, the Mary J. Blige, and although
Watson,
Mary J.
Tamia,
Blige isn't the most technical singer, but she will give you emotion. You
Faith
know,
Evans. I love
yeah.
Faith.
And then I also go a little bit back before that because I was born in the 70s, right? So I've witnessed the Gladys Knights, the Shaka Khans, the Aretha Franklins, them,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Al Greens, the Marvin Gayes, Teddy Pendergrass, you know, for real. So
I
I'm
named
used
the
to
artist that I was first introduced to as a kid because my parents love Luther Vandross.
dope. The
My
master.
my
Some
father
people,
is a huge fan of Rick James and Tina Marie, and I
yeah, me
love them
too.
too. Like
Me too.
I, I am
Some
my
people
father's
say that
daughter for real. Like I love all types of music that they grew up on.
yep.
I
Some people
remember I
say
caught
that
myself with
Luther.
my mom. I said, "Don't you think the '70s and the '80s was like the best era in music? I mean, you had these bands, Sly and the Family Stone, Earth, Wind and Fire,
So
and all them."
this is why I disagree. I think all the eras were really great. I think the 70s gave some really great stuff, but then the 80s came and we got the Michaels, the Janis, the Whitneys. That was great, you know, the Madonnas. Then I think the 90s was great because that Bad Boy, Jermaine Dupri era, all the stuff we got in the 90s, the girl group, that was dope too, you know. And then
Mhm.
the early 2000s is where it stopped. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
think, my personal opinion, I think every era prior to what's going on now gave you greatness. You know, because even think of the resurgence of the '90s right now. The '90s and that's what like right now. I'd be playing a lot of '90s music. I'm really stuck in the '90s. They gave you some classic hits, some classic groups.
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's
You
what we
know
got.
what's so weird? I've been reading about this since this
Hold
sort
on,
of
I'm gonna add somebody to our conversation. Okay.
okay, but I've been reading about Ruth Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like the queen of R&B back in the 1950s and 60s, and I think she was like the first R&B act on Atlantic Records years ago. Did you know
Yeah,
she is related to the rapper Rakim?
I
She's
don't.
his
I don't even
aunt.
know who Bruce Brown
Oh
is.
wow.
I don't have to go
Yeah,
do my
and I'm
research on
like
her.
reading about her story, and it's so interesting. And it's so funny because when I'm looking at videos of hers and the way she is so animated and dramatic and stuff, it's almost like she was the Patty before Patty LaBelle came out.
That
And she
part.
kind of reminds me of Fantasia too sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely, I,
Najee, let me introduce our guest to our conversation. What's up, Raphael? How you doing?
I'm
hello,
good, and you?
Raphael.
I'm great, man. I'm so glad that you have come to um chime in on the conversation. Used to
I
be
can
over used to be over at Sherelle's channel, right?
Yeah, I think I came over there like once.
All right, cool. Well, how you want to chime in? What do you want to chime in to our conversation?
I wanna say this. I'm a '90s kid. I was born 1995, so I'm used to more of that R&B. I don't know what this new generation is doing. Now you got some people that are good. Like I have a real good ear for music, me personally. But most of these people they sound the same as you were saying before I came up here. most of the people they sound exactly the same. So that's why I'm stuck in like the 90s and like um 8701 702, all of them,
Hmm.
like Silk, you know, Kiki Wyatt. I'm stuck in that era because in this era I don't know what they're doing, but I just need them to go sit down and just let these whole artists come out and make one more album. Just one more album. Just Summer Walker, go sit down. Please go sit down. Just
Raphael, let
let
me tell you what they're doing. So what they're doing, what they didn't do back in our days, is they're picking these people that's off of Instagram, right? Instagram famous, and they're putting them out there. Now, I just saw this thing on YouTube, and I suggest you guys go check it out. And it was entitled "Why the New Girls Can't Sing," right? And he made a valid.
Yes, I've seen that before.
What,
That's
wasn't
by
that dope?
Black Music Archive.
Yeah. So
I
here's
never
I was,
seen
he
it.
was, he was
Here's the point he
originally,
made.
I think, Aretha Franklin fan or something like that.
Yeah, he makes all of them. But check this out, y'all. Walk with me.
Yeah.
This is a point he made, which is true. It's not that any of the girls are worse or better now than they were back then, but you got to understand. Back in the day, they started singing in the church first, right? They normally most of the great people start singing in church, and they're like,
Right.
and Mariah and Whitney's parents started grooming them at an early age and put them in church, right? Then when they got signed to the record company groomed them, got them vocal coaches, got them people to show them how to walk, talk, everything, and then put them out there. And then as they was building their career, they also toured a lot. So you're training yourself. These new people don't have any training, you know what I'm saying? And you have to learn how to breathe. You have to learn how to do all of that, you know, to be a good performer. And if ain't nobody taught you that, then you're just lost.
Right.
And don't forget they
And
took
it's a
the
lot.
music schools out of the system, the music classes. Like, I think some of my generation are probably the last generation that grew up when you could take chorale, and even when you're in college, you can get a vocal coach to train you because they'll train you to sing opera. So
Yeah.
I don't even think they do that anymore. And I remember, I think Nas, he just posted something that Rick James said about how the government took music out of the school system. Because you remember, we grew up watching BH1 Divas, Save the Music.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
you don't have that anymore. And they were promoting to keep those in the school systems to keep people out of trouble. So they'll have an outlet to express themselves. And we don't even have that no more.
I told you guys I produce and work with artists locally, right? And when I'm working with my students, I tell them singing is two things. You got to get your breathing down. You have to know how to breathe because if you don't have the air, you're not going to hit the notes properly. And then you got to learn pitch, right? And that's getting at a piano and learning your scales and hearing how the note is supposed to sound. So if you get your breathing down and your pitch down, then you got it. You know what I'm saying? But you cannot do it without both of them at all.
Right. Because I remember back when I was in school, in middle school, I had to take music class. And like the lady was saying, they're not really having a music class and all that, and how you have to have notes and pitch and different things like that.
Yeah.
And I
And it,
feel like it's a lot of auto tune that's going on, and I hate it.
mm,
Some people love it, but me, I'm like, no, no.
and auto-tune was originally used to correct a note, not to put what they put on it and just completely change the notes. You know what I'm saying? It's just supposed to use if you're slightly flat or sharp, it puts you on, you know. And so it was used in the early days to do that, but now they just put it on just to give that horrible sound it gives now.
Mhm.
I personally think they
And you're
overdo it
right.
with the auto tune.
You're right. Horrible.
Mm. What did you say, Najee? I didn't hear what you said.
I feel like they overdo it with the auto tune.
Completely
I feel like
overdo it.
I feel the same way.
Mhm. Okay,
I
so
feel
here's the next subject I want to go on to, guys. All right, and Raphael, stay with us. So yesterday, last weekend was the Essence Festival, right? And so that's what the line is really talking about now. But they're really talking about Nicki Minaj and the fiasco that she caused there. And so Hulu had advertised the week prior that they were going to live stream it, but for some reason they didn't live stream um, Nicki Minaj's. And so they're allegedly saying that Hulu got mad at her and didn't do it, but then some people are saying that she got mad at Hulu and told them don't live stream me, right? But everybody's mad because the Barbs are something fierce, and they spent a lot of
yes,
money.
they are.
They spent a lot of money and subscribed to Hulu just to see Nicki Minaj, and then when they got to her part and they didn't do it, they're mad. They're also saying, and if you look at the pictures, Nicki Minaj is saying she's pregnant again. Because from the side you see a little pooch, and she's hella more thicker than what she was. So that's the other rumor. She got there and she kind of fronted off Kanye West. She's mad at him for taking her off of or not releasing the song they did called "The Monster." And she said, and she went on an interview, and she said, and this isn't alleged because I saw this out of her own mouth. She said that when they was working on the song, that Kanye West had her redo her vocals 4 different times before he accepted the one that he was going to put on the record. They actually did a video for it, but then he called her up and said, I'm not going to put it out because I'm on a journey, a spiritual journey, right? So she said, okay, I respected that. But then she said that then she turned on the TV and then he's on Drink Champs smoking and drinking. And she was like, what the hell? What happened to the spiritual journey? So, okay, and then the last thing I'll say about the Essence Awards. So everybody's talking, I mean, not the Essence, oh yeah, that is the Essence Festival. So everybody's talking about that, about Nicki Minaj, but they yet to talk about how well Janet Jackson did. If you look at Janet Jackson's clip, she showed the little young girls how it's supposed to be done. She looked right. She danced good. The part where she wasn't lip syncing, she sounded good. You know what I'm saying? Janet at 56 showed everybody why she is the princess of pop.
Right.
So with all that being said, I gave you guys a lot. We'll start with Najia. You give your commentary on how you feel, and then we're gonna go to you, Raphael.
Oh boy, Nikki always gives me a headache. She's just too much for me. I think Nikki is still a little bit bitter about Cardi B's success. And she at this point is like she will attack anybody that is doing a song with Cardi or uplifts Cardi. And it's like, girl, the song that you're talking about with Kanye is like 5 years ago, way before he was in this situation that's got him fed up today. And it's like, girl, I mean, you can't be mad at him. I mean, he's a producer and an artist himself. He can work with whoever he wants to work with. It's just
and change his mind.
He has just annoys the crap out of me. I just never could understand. I'm like, girl, you're supposed to be the queen of hip hop. Why are you so insecure? I don't understand. I'll never get it. It irks my nerves bad because the girl is like 6 years older than me. She's around the same age as me. I'm 30. She's like 36, 37. It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
What about you, Raphael? You want to weigh in?
Yeah. Nikki, I'm going to say this. Nikki, I feel like she's good. She's a good artist. But I feel like she let all this petty stuff get in the way, like this song. I think you were saying Monster, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Monster.
Yeah, she let all this stuff get in the way. And I feel like she's a good artist and she shouldn't let anything get in the way of her greatness. Because when she first came out, she was good. She was on the scene. And now she's getting mad at Kanye because he didn't do whatever she wanted him to do, or he's smoking and drinking. And one thing that she gotta understand is that, I mean, to be honest, in in this day and age, you're gonna have a lot of people or a lot of artists that smoke and drink. That's just a part of it.
Yeah. So here's my take on it, you guys. Nikki has the case of I cannot let go, right? And she claims that when she was coming out, how hateful Little Kim was to her, but she's doing the exact same thing that she alleged that Little Kim did to her. You know, Nikki had a wonderful run, 10 years. A lot of artists don't even get a year. She had 10 years where Nikki was the queen and was on top, right? So she's at that state where when you get so big, every artist get people that are just yes people around them, and they don't really tell them what the truth is, right? If I was in Nikki's camp, I would say, Nikki, you're coming toward the end of that stage. Now we need to go to stage number 2. You know, Nikki right now, as popular as she is, can head up residencies in Vegas and get paid multi-millions of dollars just to do a show, right? Nikki, now her bag will be in touring. Nikki will sell out stadiums now. You know what I'm saying? She could, like Patty does, and like a lot of the old school artists, when they stop selling units, their bag is within selling. Then Nikki can get, if she changes up her attitude, can do endorsements, you know, and to where people will want to work with her. But Nikki's attitude is so bad, and everything she does is such controversy that pretty soon ain't nobody gonna want to work with Nikki, and she is sabotaging her own career. And the last thing I want to say is, I wish women, the Moniques, the Nene Leaks, and now the Nicki Minaj's would take a page out of Lucille Ball's book. Also, the woman that played what's the lady the Marla Gibbs, and other women that started their own production company. So the reason why Lucille Ball started Desi Lou production is because she wasn't getting the work that she wanted at the time, and then CBS offered her to do the I Love Lucy show, but they didn't want Desi to be her husband because she felt like America wouldn't accept a foreign man, a Latino man, as a white woman's husband. So what she did was she and him formed Desi Lou Company, and then they became the destiny of their own masters, and eventually they called all the shots. And then Desi Lou became so popular. I don't know if you guys know this, but they gave us Star Trek and a whole lot of other iconic stuff, right? But she became the master of her career. Nicki Minaj, because she got that attitude like that, a strong attitude, right? Because like everybody says, if she was a man, would everybody be saying that she's so bad or yada yada? Nene Leakes also, you know, and Monique, they need to form their own company, become master of their own destiny, and just start creating their own projects. Because when you have them strong personalities like that, you need to have your own stuff. Just like when I let people stay with me and their personalities as strong as me, I tell them this is as long as you got to stay here, because it's not going to work with both of us here. It's just not going to work. You need to get your own stuff. You know, I knew for a long time that I could not stay with nobody because my personality is very, very strong. Very strong, right? So I knew that forever I got to keep my own stuff. You know, I go down to Atlanta every year, and I stay down there for either the summer or half of the summer. This year I'm coming for 5 weeks, right? I get my own Airbnb, and everybody says, well, you got so many friends down there and da. Nope. I want my own stuff so me and my friends can stay friends. You know what I'm saying? So to get to my initial point is, Nicki Minaj, Monique, and Nene Leakes need to start their own production company and start being the helm of their own projects. What y'all feel about that?
I agree with you 100%. 100%, especially with with Monique, because I don't know if you heard about it, but there was a whole uproar about this whole contract thing, and she was talking about what the contract said and all this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
my thing is, okay, you're mad about what the contract said, but I, me personally, I felt like that was on the promoter, that wasn't on DL.
And she went off on the wrong person. But
Exactly.
her husband be advising her wrong, right? And she gets mad when people say this, but her
Exactly.
husband is not good for her as far as business. He's a great moral support for her. He plays the husband role good, right? But he be sitting in the background with her lives, condoning her with a lot of the shit she be saying. And a lot of times Monique just needs to shut the F up. And so I'm
Yes.
it's about Monique, right? So she has some valid points. You know what I'm saying? With some of the stuff that she says. But here's my other thing. So I don't know if you guys know this. She done fell out with Oprah, Lee Daniels, Tyler
I
Perry.
know.
No, hold on. Let me go down the list. Netflix, Lionsgates, Will Packer, Ebony Magazine, BET, Deborah Lee, Roland Martins, and a slew of other people. So it gets to the point where is it everybody, Monique? Everybody is always wrong with every situation. No, sis. No, sis. And then sometimes, and my mom, I had to learn this. I had to learn this. And my mom had taught me this too. Sometimes, even when you're right in business, you got to hold your horns and you got to sit back and you got to eat something. You really do, or you're going to be jumping from business to business. You know, my mom used to tell me, Ranu, you cannot fight every fight. You can't argue with every person. I'll be like, but mama, she'd be like, I'm sorry. You cannot fight everybody. Sometimes you just got to eat it.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Sometimes you got to bite your tongue and let it be what it is. Because this recent thing that happened just showed everybody that Monique doesn't know how to conduct herself. Like, she went on a whole rant on stage, and she was down here at the Fox Theater, and I was just like, why? If you felt that strongly about it, why you didn't just call the promoter, explain to them like, look, I was supposed to do this, I was supposed to go up first. Why you didn't do that? But no, you went on the whole rant and you exposed yourself.
Yeah. And
And to
then
be
when we start talking about the daughter and her situation and the wife and the dog and all that, it just meant that she just took it to a whole different level. You know what I'm saying? You
she
brought
she
uh,
she made herself a lot worse, in
but
my opinion.
let me tell you why she shut up though, you guys. So you notice that she's not talking now, right? Because Monique goes on and on. So what was alleged is that Star, you know, she just got signed to be on BMF, right, with 50 Cent and Stars, and so Stars
Yeah.
went to 50 Cent and said, "We're about to take her out that show and cancel your show, bro. So you need to get her under check, right?" And it's alleged that 50 Cent took her behind stage and said, "Monique, you about to be blackballed again. You about to get kicked off of my show. I saved you again between me and T.S. Madison. We don't saved you. We don't got you back on. Now your big mouth is about to mess this up." And so you need to go and do a public apology. And she gave a half-hearted apology, you know what I'm saying? And now she shut up. But 50 Cent told her straight up, allegedly, you're about to be really blackballed. When you're blackballed this time, and you ain't no coming back.
Right, right. And she needs to stop letting her husband advise her. He's not even really in the business. So how you gonna let him advise you?
Yeah. Najee, as a woman, how do you feel?
I agree. I think Monique needs to learn how to hold her horns. I'm sure a lot of the stuff she has said has probably has some truth to it, but she has to realize that this is a business too. So you're gonna have to, even though you're probably in the right on some parts, you need to hold that and keep it to yourself
Mm-hmm.
because you never know these same people that you feel like they're not moving the right way and disrespectful to other people, you still have to work with some of these people.
Mm.
So
And Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels, like it or not, they're Black Hollywood right now. You know what I'm saying? You cannot get around them right now.
Right.
But I had to learn that, you guys. But I eventually learned it. You know what I'm saying? Because I kept tired of going through. My mama just asked me the other day, "Why are you so much calmer? Why don't you do this and that?" I said, "Mom, I got tired of going through the same thing over and over and over." So I had to look at myself and say, "Is it everybody else or is it me?" And there, I had to really change some of the ways I moved. You know.
Right.
Mm.
And even me, I had to learn that as now 27. I had to learn that too. Like, it's just don't say nothing, just be quiet. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn that, and Monique is gonna have to learn that too, because like she was on. I remember she had a special on Netflix, and it was where she did a comedy special with these women at this prison, and it was so funny. And I was wondering why they took it down, but I get it. Like, look at what you're doing. Because doesn't she know that if she would just shut her mouth, that she would be much further? Because she's a part of the biggest thing of all, the biggest thing of all, the queens of comedy.
Or not even that, the Oscar. She's one of the few Black women that has won an Oscar. There's only a handful of them. You know. She,
Right.
she. I think she's one of. Is she the only black woman to have a nighttime show like that or on BET? I think she's the only black woman to have a nighttime talk show. You know, she's done
Right.
a lot, but she is just like Will Smith with that slap. You know, he accomplished all of that, but now what he's going to go down in history for is getting on stage slapping people. We're going to remember all of Monique's negative points than we are her accomplishments, and I think that's
Right.
sad. But I think somebody needs to get in her ear. Well, what 50 Cent just did, you know what I'm saying? Because 50 Cent don't give a F. He gonna let you know. You know what I'm saying?
Period. Point
You
blank.
just gotta, what the Bible says, hold your meal. Sometimes you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes you do. But
Yeah.
if Zeke starts having hits and start building back up more of the hits and accomplishments, and then move into starting her own production company, then she can have more power. You know, but and this is what like when she was saying, well, why did Dave Chappelle get that money from Netflix? Why did Chris Rock get that big contract and they wanted to offer me this? Yada yada yada. Amy Schumer. This is what they all said, right? Which made sense. They didn't just go out there and say, "Oh, we're going to give you $30 million, $60 million." Da 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 da. Before Dave Chappelle got that contract, he had been touring for like 2 years and sold out stadiums all around the world, and he videotaped his stuff. Chris Rock did the same thing. Amy Schumer was selling out stadiums, right? Monique haven't
Right.
sold out. She can't sell out no stadiums. She has to be on a package tour, you know. So
Right.
anybody,
And
if it,
my thing is this. My thing is this. Like Ricky Smiley said, it don't matter if you was going up first, second, third, fourth. It really don't matter. What matters is you're on stage. And I think she missed that point.
yeah, yeah, she did.
That's what matters. It don't matter who go up first, second, third, fourth. You're on stage. That's what matters. Because I want to become a mental health therapist.
Mm.
And it's not going to matter when I become a mental health therapist. It's going to matter Hey, I got the pieces of paper that I need. It don't matter when,
Right.
and I
And I feel
think
like
she
Amy would do better if she did like a production thing because I really enjoyed her in the Betsy Smith biopic. She played Ma Rainey. And I think she needs to do something like that where she can have production and do films and link up with some directors and put more black stories out there that would really embrace our people.
I agree.
Yeah, because you can't take away and say she's not talented. She's extremely talented, and she's
She
like a
killed
Whoopi
the
Extremely.
role of
Goldberg.
Ma Rainey, man. I
She's
loved her
like a
in
Whoopi
Betsy Smith.
Goldberg. She's talented. She could do comedy. She could do drama. She shows us she could do anything, right? But she just got to take. I feel just take control of her career, and then you could be the whatever you want to be. And then people, when you're at in control of what you're doing, like even right now, you guys, I've been offered so many different record contracts and stuff, but they've been them 360 contracts, and then I would have less control. And I know, and I'm doing a lot to build up my career. And why am I going to do all this work to hand it over to you to get paid pennies? They pay you pennies when you sign the record companies and then contracts. And then I know my attitude, right? So I'm like, I've turned them down, and I'm going to keep my own production company until my stuff really pops. And I'll be in
Right.
control of my destiny. And that's
Right.
what
I
it needs
thought
to do.
about that too with myself. Like, I have friends that always tell me like, "How come you're not doing what you dream of doing?" And I'm like, I don't want to be in a situation where I lose control of my music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm very, very calculated on how I want to move when I approach the music. So
And
I
stay
don't
that way,
want to
Najee. Stay
sign to
that
a
way.
major. I don't really want to sign to a major label where I don't have control on how I want this to sound or how I want to write my own songs and collaborate songwriters that I think I would gel well with. I don't want to be
No,
in a situation like that.
they even own your name. I was just watching a documentary on Prince, and Prince. I'm watching him right now. He's on TV. Prince is his God-given name, but Warner Brothers owned the right of it up until um about 5 years before he died. Could you imagine somebody owning your blood? Ranu is my real name. I could
Hmm.
not imagine somebody owning my biological name. That's just not going to happen.
That would make me feel really upset.
Yeah, but
Right.
they do it. They own everything, and they literally, you guys pay you. So it's called points, right? So the average
Hmm.
artist gets anywhere between 4 to 8 points a record, right? That's 4 pennies, and then the record
Mm-mm.
company makes dollars off of you. You know what I'm saying? And you're getting pennies.
Wow.
I could not
That's
see it.
crazy.
And think about it, you
And that's
guys.
why they don't really make the most money until they go on tour. That's their
That's where,
money.
but it
Right.
used to be that way. Now you guys, now with the 360 on contracts, they're even getting into your tour money, your merchandising money, and all that. They want everything. So
Wow.
me and my personality, I'm just not like I told my artists that I work with. I'd rather stay at the level I am right now and put out music and make music I want to than let somebody pimp me. That's just not me. That is not me at
Mm-hmm.
all. Mm-mm.
Right. And like you were saying, like that's where having your own comes in because you can control your own.
Mhm. What's the black
Mm-hmm.
parents' favorite thing that we've all of black people have heard all our lives from our parents? When you don't like my rules, what do they tell us to do?
Get out of their
Get
house.
Get
out.
out the house. I've
Get
never
out.
known a black parent that ain't said that to us.
Mm. Not
Okay,
that
so
I
Or
know
the
of.
old saying of it, or the old saying is, "I brought you in this world, but I'll take you out."
and they mean that.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yes.
very last thing I want to talk about, guys, is so you know that video that went viral where that woman said she was going to expose her baby daddy, and he brought the McDonald's over for one child, but she went off on him for not bringing McDonald's for all of the kids. And then he said, "But you expect me to feed all 5 of your kids? I'm not doing that, right?" What's your take on that, y'all? Raphael, you want to start first?
Yeah, I'll start. Well, I'm gonna say it like this, and you might think that I'm kind of wrong, but if he's spending his own money, he don't have to buy every single child something to eat. Now, I feel that morally it would be the right thing to do. Just go ahead and get the kids something to eat. But is it a thing that he has to do? No.
Najia?
Mhm. That's how I felt, because I mean, he may not want to do it, but morally it would be the right thing to do.
I'm in 100% agreement with you guys. Morally, it is the right thing to do. What I bring just for my child, I wouldn't do it technically, you know. But technically, he is 100% right. And if he went to court, a court would tell her he's not obligated to feed your other children. He's only obligated to take care of his kid. Now, if he's going to do it like that, what I would have did, if I didn't have the funds to bring enough food for everybody, I would have said, I'm coming to pick up my child. I'll bring him back. I would have took my child and fed him and then brought him back. You know what I'm saying? But bringing
Right.
the
That's
McDonald's,
me.
bringing the McDonald's over there like that, and then giving it to him, and then expecting him to eat it in front of his siblings, that's going to cause dissension in that house. You know. But on her other end, so she took the food and threw it, right? And so, well, ain't nobody gonna eat. Now that was ignorant on her end. If she was that concerned about everybody eating, she should have took it and divided it up. You know what I'm saying? And said, we're all gonna eat off of this. So they
That
were
was
just
completely unnecessary.
they were just both.
And mature,
Yeah,
if
Mhm.
you ask me. Because
yeah,
why would you take it and throw it? But that's just to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, we all are agreeing on that. Well, guys, we've been on here for 1 hour and 3 minutes, so we're about to wrap it up. I want to thank my co-host Najia as always, and thank you also, Raphael. You're welcome to come up here anytime that we're on here. I like the way you think, bro.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. And I like the way you two think as well.
Thank you. All right, so
Thank you.
Najia, you want to tell everybody where they can find you at on social media, your platforms?
On social media, you can find me on Facebook at Nigeria Vaughn. You can also find me on Instagram at Nigeria Vaughn as well.
What about you, Raphael? Where can they find you at?
Uh, Raphael Harwick on Facebook, like how it's spelled at the bottom. My Instagram is now Raphael Harwick, all lowercase, all together, and yeah.
All right,
Oh
cool.
yeah, and my YouTube, which is at the bottom, as y'all can see.
Yeah, and I didn't
Mhm.
say this, you guys. If you haven't already, like and share my channel. Um, Even if you're not on the live right now and you come and you watch us, leave some comments. That helps us in the algorithm. And once again, thank you everybody who's been helping me to grow with all my projects. I appreciate y'all. So on the count of three, y'all, we'll say bye. 1, 2, 3. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.